You let out a sigh as you stepped into your new apartment, the last of your belongings tucked neatly in a few cardboard boxes. After months of searching, you had finally found the perfect place, a cozy one bedroom unit in the heart of the city, with plenty of natural light and a balcony that overlooked a quaint park. This is it. You murmured, your lips curling into a smile as you gazed around the spacious living room. My fresh start, eager to make the space your own, you wasted no time unpacking and arranging your furniture. As you hummed along to the soft music playing from your phone, a sense of excitement and anticipation bubbled within you. This apartment marked the beginning of a new chapter in your life, one where you could finally leave the past behind and focus on building the future you would always dreamed of. However, your blissful dream was soon shattered when you opened the fridge to grab a late night snack only to find it completely empty. Furrowing your brow, you closed the door and double checked the pantry, only to discover that the few groceries you had purchased earlier that day had vanished without a trace. That is strange, you mumbled, your fingers drumming against the kitchen counter as you tried to make sense of the situation. Had you simply forgotten to unpack the food, or perhaps a stray animal had somehow managed to get into your apartment and took everything? Dismissing the thought, you shook your head and decided to let go the snack, instead opting to turn in for the night. As you made your way to the bedroom, a faint creaking sound caught your attention, causing you to pause mid-step. Straining your ears, you listened intently, but the apartment had fallen utterly silent. It's probably just the building settling. You reassured yourself, forcing a small chuckle as you continued on your path, and as you settled beneath the cozy duvet, you found yourself unable to drift off to sleep. The next morning, you awoke to the unsettling discovery that several of your favorite t-shirts and shirts had gone missing from your closet. Panic gripped you as you quickly searched every corner, but the items were nowhere to be found. This can't be happening, you murmured, your hands trembling as you closed the closet door. Memories of your previous apartment, where you had fallen victim to a series of thefts, came rushing back. You couldn't help but wonder if history was repeating itself. Decided to check the mystery, you let go of your morning routine and instead set out to explore the apartment complex, hoping to uncover any clues related to the strange incidents. As you wandered the dimly lit halls, a chill ran down your spine, and you couldn't shake the feeling that you were being watched. You quickly walked and made your way to the building's main office, where you were greeted by a kindly older woman behind the counter. "Good morning, dear," the woman said, offering you a warm smile. "How can I help you today?" Hi, you began, your voice coated with uneasy. "I was hoping you could tell me a bit about the history of this building. I've been experiencing some strange things in my apartment and I'm a little concerned." The woman's expression shifted and you leaned forward, her brow furrowed in concern. "Strange things, you say? Do tell, child. I have been the superintendent of this building for over 20 years, and I may be able to shed some light on the matter." he proceeded to recall the incidents with the missing food and clothing. Your words were coated with nervousness. As you spoke, the woman's face grew increasingly dead, and she let out a heavy sigh. Oh, my dear, it seems you have stumbled upon the dark history of this place, the woman said seriously. This apartment complex was built upon the ruins of an old kingdom, you see, and the land is said to be haunted by the spirit of a cursed king. Your eyes widened in disbelief and you opened your mouth to interrupt, but the woman raised her hand, silencing you. I know it sounds like something out of a fairy tale, but the story is all too real. Many years ago, this land was the domain of a benevolent ruler known as the Devil King. You were listening silently. However, his wicked stepmother, consumed by jealousy and greed, cursed him, transforming him into a devil, doomed to wander the earthly plane for eternity. The woman passed, her gaze fixed on your face. The Devil's kingdom crumbled, and the land was eventually redeveloped into this very apartment complex. But his spirit remains trapped within the confines of his former palace. It's said that he still roams the halls, seeking to reclaim what was once his. You felt your heart pounding in your chest as the woman's words sank in. A cursed king, a demonic entity, it all sounded like something straight out of a gothic horror novel. And yet the superintendent's serious expression told you that this was no mere folktale. So you're telling me that my apartment is haunted? He asked, your voice barely above a whisper. The woman nodded seriously. I'm afraid so, my dear. The clothing is just the beginning. The Devil King is known to play all manner of tricks on those who dares to step on his domain. You swallowed hard, your mind racing with a million questions. Should you move out, call an exorcist, or perhaps this was all just a coincidence and there was a more real explanation for the strange incidents? What should I do? You asked, your voice trembling with uneasy. The woman reached across the counter, giving your hand a gentle squeeze. My advice, be cautious, chill, and tread lightly. The Devil King may be cursed, but he is not without his charms. Who knows, perhaps you may even find a way to break the spell that binds him. With those cryptic words, the woman offered a sympathetic smile and returned to her paperwork, leaving you to know unsettling revelations that had been pushed upon you. Hey dear, are you scared? You quickly came out of your thoughts as she shook your shoulder. Yeah, what happened? I was just joking around. There is nothing like that. Relax. You were surprised and you felt like breathing at once. Are you sure? Yeah, I am. Now go and eat something. You simply nodded as if you lied and walked towards your flat. Oh no, that Devil King is on her floor? I should not go that side. I will inform the landlord about this. She really panicked knowing this. Even though she said it was a lie, you couldn't take the unsettling feeling that had settled over you. The notion that your new home was haunted by the spirit of a cursed Devil King was the stuff of nightmares. Yet, the woman's dead expression and the strange incidents you had already experienced put you at unease. As you made your way back to your apartment, you couldn't help but glance over your shoulder, half expecting to see the ghostly figure of the Devil King lurking in the shadows. The dimly lit hallway suddenly felt suffocating, and you quickened your speed, your heart pounding in your chest. Once safely inside your room, you locked the door and leaned against it, taking a deep, steadying breath. It's just your imagination vying. You muttered, trying to convince yourself there is no such thing as haunted apartments or cursed kings. She said was joking, right? Decided to push the supernatural nonsense out of your mind, you busied yourself with unpacking the remaining boxes, carefully arranging your belongings in an attempt to restore a sense of normalcy to your new home. A try as you might you could not take unease that had settled over you. Throughout the day, you found yourself jumping at every corner of the aging building, eyes scanning the apartment as if waiting for a ghostly presence in the corners. The lack of food and clothing was worrying enough, but now the thought of being watched by the spirit of the cursed king filled you with fear. When night fell, your anxiety only grew. You had always been a light sleeper, and tonight every unfamiliar sound seemed to awake you. The faint creaking of floorboards, the distant hum of the refrigerator, even the gentle rustling of the curtains in the evening breeze. Each made your heart skip a beat as you strained to find the cause of the disturbances. You decided to know the reason. You went out for searching. As you returned to the living room, exhausted from your search, a sudden movement in the corner of your eye caught your attention. Turning around, you gasped as you caught sight of a shadow figure hovering near the kitchen counter. "Who is there?" you called out, your voice quivering with fear. I have a weapon and I'm not afraid to use it." The figure remained motionless, and for a moment you wondered if had simply imagined it. Mustering your courage, you took a cautious step forward, squinting your eyes in an attempt to make out the details of the mysterious presence. As you drew closer, your breath caught in your throat. The figure appeared to be semi-transparent, its form flickering and wearing like a mirage. You saw several times, but the ghostly shadow remained, its featureless face fixed in your direction. "Oh my god!" you whispered, your hands trembling as you reached for the nearest object you could use as a weapon. You are real?" The figure seemed to sense your fear, for it slowly began to move, drifting closer to where you stood, rooted to the spot. You braced yourself, your fingers tightening around the heavy glass vase you had grabbed, but as the figure drew near, you found yourself unable to move, transfixed by the sheer, otherworldly nature of the sight before you. Suddenly, the figure stopped, its amorphous form hovering just inches from your face. You held your breath, your heart pounding in your ears, as a spectral presence seemed to study you intently. Who are you?" you whispered, your voice barely audible. "I'm John Jungkook, the Devil King," he said, brushing your cheek with his finger. Your eyes widened in shock, and you found yourself unable to react, your mind reeling with a mixture of fear and fascination. The ghost touch was oddly soothing, and as he slowly withdrew his hand, you felt a strange sense of disappointment wash over you. John Jungkook, Devil King," you uttered those words. Jungkook was shocked for a moment as he heard him. "You hear me?" Your eyes widened in disbelief as the words registered. Slowly you nodded, your gaze shifting around the room in search of the source of the voice. "Yes, I can hear you," you replied, your voice barely above a whisper. "Who are you? Why are you staying here?" "Did you hear me?" And John Jungkook the Devil King. You felt a cold chill at the mention of the cursed soul. So the rumors were true. The haunting was indeed the work of the restless spirit of the ancient ruler, the Devil King. But how is that possible? I thought you were just a legend. Your breath, your mind racing with fear. A soft, almost wistful chuckle echoed through the flat, sending a shiver down your spine. So what? Who said I'm not a legend? If I'm not a real legend, you would not be afraid of me now. King will be a king anywhere and everywhere, he said proudly while you gulped with fear. I understand, but why are you here? What are you doing in my flat? You stuttered with fear. Nice joke. I didn't come to your flat. You yourself came to my zone. Welcome to the Devil's Palace. Now your heart is racing so fast as his raspy devilish voice hit your ears. What do you mean? What do you want from me? Your voice trembling with fear. I want you. I want you to be a queen to my palace. Your heart dropped into your stomach, knowing his real intention, as you didn't expect you would marry a devil king. What? No, you screamed while he smirked evilly. To be continued.